So, hi, this is Jeannie, and this is my podcast, Dreams to Reality. But I'm hosting like part of it's called Spirit Matters. It's just a conversation about spiritual stuff, about energy, about life, about philosophy. It's literally, anything goes, and we're just free flowing. And it's gonna be like a 30-minute conversation at a time, and then we'll be discussing topics. And my guest for today is Jason, but he's going to be the co-host, and hopefully we can find a permanent home for Spirit Matters, and maybe we can do it regularly, but we'll find out. And so, Jason, why can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Jen, and thank you for the opportunity for having me on and serving as a co-host. So a little bit about me. I recently graduated from naturopathic medical school and acupuncture school this past May, and I've been a pranic healer for about 6-7 years, and that's where I first met Jen. And right now I'm practicing acupuncture in New Jersey and naturopathic medicine in Connecticut. And yeah, a little, I've always been interested in, spiritual topics, a lot about spiritual philosophy. And yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for us to, just dive deeper into conversations and, really, again, dive deep into specific topics that we have, that we came up with. So yeah, I'm excited for this opportunity.
Yeah, that's great. So we're gonna decide we decided to make this an informal thing. So today Jason's gonna read out like topics that we're gonna decide on the spot. So he's the topic generator right now. Can you read it out loud and we'll decide?
Yes. So the current list that we have as of today, January 15th, is what is energy, working with energy, focus, purpose of meditation, subconscious programming, identifying and connecting with guidance, the energy of karma, chakras and its correspondences, life events and the experiences of our body, and understanding the purpose. Um, Again, understanding our overall purpose, mental prison, oneness, again, life purpose, healing, and levels of consciousness. So that was a lot right there.
So yeah, what do you feel like talking about tonight?
Well, I feel like the word purpose came up like 3 times, so I feel
Oh.
like definitely we got to hit that. Um, and then did anything else pop up to your ear that you wanted to talk about out of that list?
I think also the purpose of meditation, we can do that as the next
Okay,
segment for the
that'd be a
next,
nice theme.
yeah,
Yeah.
for our next
Okay.
conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
And then whoever wants to contribute, you can email us at homeofgenie@gmail.com and write down any topic that you think we can discuss. So what was it again? Purpose of life, right? Or your life purpose?
Yes, life purpose. And then you said you chose purpose of meditation, right?
Yeah, but that's going to be for the next segment. So
Oh,
we're going to
next.
do the
Next.
life
Okay.
purpose thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Got
you
it. Got it.
start since you since you picked the topic.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to start first?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so life purpose, I think that's been a big theme for, of course it's a big theme that crosses everyone's mind at, some point in your life. And it's especially relevant, right now because we're still in the energy of January, and January, New Year 2022. And it feels like 2020 feels so far long ago, and I can't believe it's been 2 years since. But yeah, but life purpose, it's I feel like it's like that one concept that if people understood, things would be a lot more clear in people's life. It's sort of like when you're walking down a road, and there's different paths, right, you can choose from. If you have an intention, an aim, something that you desire, it makes getting to that point, of course, a lot easier if you make the right choices and choosing, the different paths. And I feel like, and you can comment this on your experiences, Jen. In terms of, for me, my life purpose, it hasn't been the most clear, and that's why I think I chose it, because even though we're on the spiritual path, we like to think that we know our life purpose, right? We like to think that we're a little bit of ahead compared to the average person. But once you get deep into it, and once you start diving deep, becoming aware, meditating on your purpose, actually, taking the actions to fulfill your purpose, you start to find out that it's actually much more complicated and bigger than what it initially looked like or sound like, because you were looking from the outside looking in. But once you go in it and start taking the steps, it becomes more, it's different. But I think that's a good thing, because it's not always the same, and it's not always what you expected. So yeah, do you have anything to comment on that?
Oh yeah, so life purpose, I know it sounds cliche, but I think your life purpose will find you no matter what you're doing in life. And I think you mentioned this, you were on another path. Uh in one of our conversations, you were in another path, and you were just led to a different path which you didn't really think you would be led into. And it's the same with me, because so I'm in the medical field, allied medical sciences and stuff, but I really felt that there was something still missing in my life, and it just literally found me. um and part of my life purpose is, of course, to be a guide and a teacher in this lifetime, and it's to teach people about Buddhism, because of all things, I never imagined that I would be teaching Buddhism, because I came from a different religious background. I'm not going to mention what that is. It's not really relevant, but I do remember before I became a Buddhist, there was just breadcrumbs. Like my sister introduced me to Buddhism, like in high school, college. And then after college, I had a patient that gave me books, and she was actually a Buddhist monk. And then she started giving me books and stuff, and I started reading about it. And at that time, it was so profound and so complicated. I didn't really understand it. And then a couple years later, my cousin introduced me to a Japanese form of Buddhism, which is just chanting the mantra. And at one point as well, I had like a nervous breakdown in my, after college. So I didn't know my life purpose, and just something traumatic happened. And I went to see like a psychiatrist just for one or two sessions or something. And it's kind of weird, because she mentioned something about karma. And then I was like, what's that? I don't understand that. And then it was just breadcrumbs. So my life purpose found me in a way. I was just led to it. And I realized that I'm really good at understanding the process, and just teaching it to people, teaching like-minded people such as myself to be led to Buddhism, which is, Buddhism just means to become enlightened. And I think that's just part of my purpose right now. Not all of my purpose, life purpose, but it's part of my purpose is to teach others, to guide and lead them to try out Buddhism, and just to see if it will make a huge impact on their life. And when I stopped doing that, and I have stopped last year, doing it actively. I mean, I would post videos on YouTube and stuff, but people would just seek me out. And then like someone sought me out again this year, and then last year people were seeking me out. I'm like, what's happening here? But yeah, so your life purpose will find you, so you don't really have to find it. It will just find you. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I liked how you shared the themes of it does find you, and no matter where you are, where you're located, what time it is,
Yeah.
what you're doing, your life purpose is always just right there, like right in front of you. Sometimes, it just takes, the awareness to tune into things, but it's basically interconnected with everything else that's going on in your life. And I like how you said that sometimes, even if we're not aware of it, sometimes it takes more difficult lessons to learn from, and usually that comes with pain or trauma. But that when that comes, that's like, I feel like life is throwing you like a boulder. It's like you cannot miss it. It's right in your face. This is who you are, and this is what you're doing, right? This is the purpose that you're gonna go through. And yeah, that was the same thing for me. Like you said, I was on, when I was in college. It's funny. It feels like we all go through trauma in college. I think I changed my major like 4 or 5 times until I found the one that was right for me, and that was a biology. Even though it wasn't like perfect for me, I felt it was definitely a better fit than compared to like computer science or anything engineering or technical like that. And it was through that pain, that trauma, was like, oh, why can't I figure this out? Like I really want to find my purpose. I want to do what I actually want to do. And the whole time it was in front of me, right? And it was to be a healer. And for me, that was very important in my life, because I was going through chronic illness. I've had eczema since a child, and it's been sort of treatment resistant. So I've had ups and downs with it. So that sort of molded me in a certain way, from not being aware of what I want to do. But I realized I've been avoiding that. I've been avoiding healing myself, working on myself, loving myself unconditionally. And that is really, really special to me, because part of that karma to work that out is to give that to other people, to offer healing to other people, to make other people feel loved, to make them feel that they can believe in their dreams and actually go and chase after it. All of things that which I did not feel like I was able to do at the time. And so I'm grateful to be able to share that now in my position. Considering I went through all the schooling and now I'm actually practicing, it's really been I've been really grateful for the journey. And yeah, I'm just excited to continue serving more people.
That's good. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing about life purpose is it's never what you think and it's never what you imagined. And I think I follow a lot of authors and stuff. I don't know if you remember like the author of Eat, Pray, Love.
Eat, pray, love.
Yeah,
um
so I think her name is Elizabeth Gilbert. So I actually met her in a seminar, an Oprah seminar,
mhm,
and then she talked about like she was just led to the path of traveling and self-discovery, and but she lived like an ordinary life, and then she just felt like something tugging her from her daily reality, and then and that just took her, so she just listened to that voice and it took her to amazing places, and also she was able to write a book or books and travel
mhm.
around like the world, and also made an impact on other people as well, like teaching them. And now we hear a lot of stories now that people just like, yeah, I'm just going to leave my 9 to 5 and I'm just going to travel. So
Yeah.
she sort of like was also one of the first few people, that this was years ago, that also was instrumental in people like discovering themselves, taking a break and stuff from their 9 to 5. So yeah, the life purpose as well, it is also listening to that inner voice. That's something like, as you said, you just were jumping from major to major, and then you eventually like the biology. major just called you and then it just felt right. So that's how it's going to feel with your life purpose. It's just going to feel right. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, and it that's like the first sign, and just having that awareness of like, oh, this feels right. This feels a little bit more comfortable than the situation before. And what I want to transition to in the next topic is how do we trust it? How do we know that it's right for us, right? We know that this is the feeling that it's right for us, and now in order to trust it means we take action on it. We actually make a plan and take steps to achieving what we want at the end of this life purpose goal. How do you want to be, who do you want to be, and what do you want to do at the end of the day. And I think that's an important next step in terms of taking that life purpose from the headspace and into really your body, your life, and actually moving and using the energy to create, to produce the results that you want. And sometimes that can be a little bit challenging, but most of the times because it feels so natural, like there's a natural pull, like you said, towards it anyways. You're going to be heading in that direction anyways. So I find that for people that are struggling to take that first step, or take that first couple initial steps, because like you said, there's been a lot of people that have been quitting their 9 to 5 jobs, especially during this time in the pandemic, and a lot of people are moving to working online. And of course there's a little bit of fear of changing from your old space, the old energy, the old complacent energy, which is easy to be in, right? It's so much easier to be still, to be not moving, and to be complacent to your usual routine, compared to being a little bit on the fearful side and trying something new, and testing your ideas and taking those steps. So what kind of ideas or recommendations do you have for people that are about to take those first initial steps, but there might be a little bit fear or doubt, because quitting your 9 to 5 job is a big deal, and it sounds nice, but you really have to trust it. So what ideas or recommendations do you have for those people?
Um, I don't really recommend quitting the 9 to 5.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's not for everyone's
yeah, it's not.
scenario.
Yeah, but sometimes if you really, um, most of the time though, you will most likely be fired or something. I don't know. In
Yeah. Or let's
or
change it. Let's say instead of 9 to 5, let's see like the old energy, the old routine that you're used to, you're complacent to. It doesn't matter if it's a 9 to 5 job, or it could be like an old belief system, a old habit or pattern. And so how does one uh break out of that and go into the path of their life purpose and moving towards that?
So there's really no like steps and stuff. Like you can
Mhm.
sometimes it's like you get, as I said, you get kicked out. Sometimes it's could
Mm,
be a relationship, it could be a job. Sometimes
okay.
it's very abrupt that you just have no choice. Like, dude, like, yeah, what happened? And then when that happens, it's usually the universe's way of saying, like, hey, maybe you should or sometimes illness too. In my case it was like a nervous breakdown. Oh, sorry, I
Uh-huh.
hope my dog's okay. So it was a nervous breakdown, and it was really like the energy was just really like creating that situation which just threw me off that sphere that I was in, that loop.
Yeah.
And it sometimes can be very abrupt, sometimes it can be very destructive, and sometimes you don't really have a choice. But sometimes um it doesn't really mean that you have to, if you're not happy right now, that you quit right away. It's just you'll just, it's like more like it's different for everybody. Sometimes it's gradual,
Right, right.
and but I know in my case it's been like a type of expulsion energy or destructive energy, so I can
Mm,
create something better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um and then it's not more like their strategies or anything, it just you deal with it, you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely resonate you when you said that, sometimes there's things are sort of outside of our control in terms of like the environment, the situation, just based off how far things have gone along. And like you said, some, that the least that we can do is, and the most that we can do at the time is to just experience it, to really go through that. And it can be a bit challenging, because you're right there, right? You're in your own shoes. You're in you're feeling it all, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually. um, but it does create the most growth, the most change, from all of that pressure from all facets.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I think I like the same way, when I was struggling, finding that in college. I had a lot of mental breakdowns. I was seeing, counseling. I was, waking up in the morning and feeling very low, very depressed already, even before, going to school, because I knew the type of energy that I was gonna head my, walk into. So, my body even already knew. I just woke up, but my body already felt it, even without thinking about it. So it just happens. And when you make the changes and you go through that experience, again, everyone's different. And whether it takes you a couple weeks or a couple months, years, um, you're going to start to realize that, it things just feel better, more comfortable. You have more, uh, sort of power in your ability to see and to be aware and to create what you want. So I think that was definitely a blessing for me, even though, in our both of our cases, our experiences might have been challenging. When you come out of it, you get more than you go through, in terms of the positives.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's different for everybody. Sometimes, that shift or transition can be violent, it could
Mhm.
be very traumatic, but at the same time it could just be really like a gradual, flow.
Right.
um yeah, and sometimes it could also be a decision as well. I follow two authors and like they're into spiritual stuff, and then
Mhm.
I think theirs was they were suicidal, and I think one of them actually like tried to kill himself, but it didn't happen. Like he pulled a gun, and then even if
Mhm.
he pulled the trigger, nothing happened. And then
Mhm.
that really was life changing for that person. So, and that person realized that their life purpose was to help other people who were at the lowest point of their lives to like elevate their lives. And so, yeah, it's it's like, so your life purpose is not cookie cutter thing, anything goes.
Mhm.
um I think the best word to use is just trust the process, you
Trust
know?
the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, trusting the process. And I think it's about the journey, not the end goal. And there's so much that we learn from in the journey, but that we can also relish and, find the love, the peace, the pleasure, the happiness that we seek for at the end, but still get to experience it all, gradually, through the journey. And yeah, some of us can have, very, like you said with the author, that's very profound, very powerful, life-changing experiences. Especially when it comes to feeling the lowest point in your life, right? Especially when it comes to more heavy topics like suicide. And so profound and powerful how you said it, in their experiences where they had, something that could end their life, but it wasn't happening. And then there's that switch, that click, and and things just open up there. There's a new realization, new found purpose, and you really take that to heart because it happened to you. You can share that and help others. And I feel like in terms of going back to the purpose as a path, there's always going to be ups and downs, right, Jen?
Mhm.
And there it's like a wave, so there's always ups and downs. And again, for different people, some maybe your ups and downs are a little bit more controlled. They're not as different in terms of the difference between the highs and lows. And some people have it a little bit more challenging. um, but all of it goes towards a direction, and that direction is, again, whether we like it or not, it's going to make us go down that path. um, and using the analogy again, how I said, like, there was like a boulder in front of you and you can't avoid it, and you either have to go over it, go around it, or break through it. Life gives you hints, and I've used this analogy with you before. Sometimes life or the universe throws pebbles at you, and if you might not be aware of it, it'll start throwing rocks and bigger rocks and bigger rocks, and then a boulder. And then when you get to a boulder, it's like, oh wow, it feels like you're at the lowest point of your life because this huge thing is in your way. But it's actually, it's a blessing because it's right in your face. It's here and now, and you can take it and really run with it. So yeah, but very powerful in terms of you know picking yourself and elevating yourself from the lower points of your life in order to get to what we strive for, which are hopefully the higher points, and in that sense.
Yeah, and so I remember your analogy, like pebbles and stuff. So I was years ago, I was able to attend like Oprah's seminar, and
Hmm.
she talked about finding her life purpose. And so it's not well known about her that she actually went through like addiction, and then I think she had like a lot of like sexual trauma and sexual abuse in her childhood. And then she mentioned something like at first it was just pebbles, and then eventually it was bricks that fell on her until she got the hint. And then she just realized, like, she talked about a thread, and it's that thread, it's like a whisper, it just leads you to your life purpose. And she said it was like following that voice of intuition and just following that sense that she had, um and just making that decision to just trust that lightness in her being. And it led her to become, like, she's like a billionaire right now. And she, during the height of her, I mean, she's still doing it now, but during the height of her success, she was empowering women. And she was one of those people on talk shows that was really positive and focused on positivity, but she wasn't like that before. And yeah, it was
Yeah.
more like yeah, it was gradual for her until, like, life taught her a lesson. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I've heard a little bit about Oprah's story, and it's definitely, again, so inspiring, because it happens to all of us, even though her story is unique to her experience. The lessons that we can take from it applies to
Mhm.
all of us. And I liked how you pointed out, following your intuition, right? Following that feeling, that pull. um, and I think that for many people, it starts with your heart space. If you
Mhm.
if you can agree with me, it's of course, our heart is the center for uh, sending and receiving emotions. I would say more higher emotions, and our lower emotions can get stuck more lower down to our gut. But the heart is really the compass, or I would say like the true north, in terms of the compass reference. And people say listen to your heart, listen to your heart, follow your heart. It sounds so cliche, but it's true. It's worked for people in the past, and it's working for people now. And if you can really, whether it be in meditation, whether it doesn't even have to be meditation, just being aware, being mindful of how you feel, how your heart feels when you're about to do something, when you're deciding to do something. And I think we were testing this out yesterday, in terms of, for me, like figuring out what feels lighter or heavier in terms of the certain life choices that I was telling you about. And I was having, of course, I've been doing this for a while, but I still have trouble figuring out, oh, does this really feel right? Or wait, why does it feel heavy? Or is it feeling heavy because my body feels heavy in this moment? Or so what kind of suggestions would you have for people to basically be more aware of that intuition, of their heart, of their soul in general, in these kinds of situations?
Yes, I'm following like one of an intuitive uh because I follow a lot of people, teachers and stuff, but he said that intuition is like a muscle. Um and that oh, I'm sorry about that. My dog. So intuition is like a muscle, and it's you have to just practice, just practice that lightness, and just practice every day, make a choice, and then make another choice. It's basically just practice in everyday life. Like it's like ask yourself, like, should I go turn left or should I turn right? And then listen to your body, listen to yourself. And like if you feel like when you turn left, it led to something that you didn't really find desirable, maybe next time turn right. So but you actually learn it over time. So intuition, we all have it. It's more like, oh, I don't know if you can hear me, I'm sorry. So we all have it, intuition, but it's more like we have to learn to practice every day. Were you able to hear what I said though? Because the
Yeah,
mic
it was
was
it was a little bit lower in volume, but I was still able to hear you. So
yeah. So it's practice like anything. It's like a muscle. You have to practice every day. And as like Oprah said, she wasn't always following her intuition. And then she just over time, over the years, she just tried to, oh, if I listen to this one, it feels lighter, it just feels better, and I'm going to make this choice or decision, or I'm just going to do this. So it's a day to day thing, and you're not going to get it right away. Right now, I'm really good at following my intuition because I've had, a lot of practice over the years. But I noticed before when I wasn't following my intuition, I would have an unfavorable outcome, but it's okay. We have setbacks, but they're not really setbacks. They're just learning experiences. Yeah.
yeah, I love your take on that. That's like with anything in life, it's a muscle, right? It's something that we have to use, that we have to practice. The more we practice it, the more the closer to perfect it can be. And I think that for a lot of people, just the idea of having a choice in choosing is profound in itself, right? And when I say that, I mean the choice in um, finding out whether it serves you or it doesn't serve you, right? And that's what it boils down to. And like, should I go left or should I go right? And some people, they just choose it based off of, I've been going left or I've been going right, so let me just go there. But to actually have that conscious decision to weigh the outcomes, the potential outcomes based on, again, your intuitive factors, it's huge. It's such a breakthrough, right? And then it gives you so much more control over your life. It gives you so much more space to trust and to create more and to do more because of it. And I think that for me, at least going forward, listening to you and our conversations, yesterday, that's something I'm definitely going to apply more. Because sometimes we live almost subconsciously or unconsciously, based off of our habits, our programs, our thought forms. So, and those can be a little bit challenging to break out. But by practice, making routines, setting a schedule, applying the skills and knowledge that we've discussed, you can really start to change yourself and of course then around change your life into the direction of your life purpose.
Yeah. And before we end this discussion, I would just, something came up to mind. You said particular exercise, what can you do? So this spiritual teacher, he was doing the intuition class. So one of the things that he said was, think of three paths. Like say you're choosing between 2 points. So think about three pathways and try to walk the first path and then come back and then walk the second path and then come back. I mean, visualize, and then the third path and then come back. And then after all of that, like that activity in your mind, you can sort of like get a more informed decision based on just visualizing walking path A, path B, and then path C, and then just feeling the energy of it, what feels right to you. So even just visualizing, choosing A, B, and C, and just actually in your mind doing that, and then coming back and then making that decision. So that's another exercise you can do aside from feeling for the energy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent exercise. I like how you can come back to that original point and then keep, to the second path and third path and then come back to the original space. Yeah, that's excellent. I'm definitely going to use that.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that too because I know about that, but usually I just use this, like, does it feel light, heavy, or
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it could be simple or a little bit more advanced depending on, what you want, but it still at the end of the day, it gives you valuable, intuitive information on, where you want to be and where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so we're gonna wrap up our conversation today, and then or tonight, and then we're gonna talk about another topic separately. And thank you very much. Do you need to add anything before we wrap up?
No, I think this was a great first run, and starting with life purpose as the first topic and theme. I think it's very, very applicable, very relevant now. And yeah, I really enjoyed the talk. So thank you again for the opportunity, Jen.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'll see you soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.